Hey everyone, Nubkeks here, and in today's video we're taking a look at the Beast Mastery Hunter on the Shadowlands beta for World of Warcraft. This is the first Hunter spec we're looking at. We'll look at Marksmanship tomorrow and then Survival the day after, most likely. And we've already looked at most specs and classes on the beta already, so do go check out those videos if you're interested. And we'll be looking at the final two classes, the Druids and the Rogues, then once we're done with the Hunters. Also worth noting, if you want to get the weak auras that I have in this video, or you want to know about my UI, I did do an entire video looking at my UI and how I set it up on the beta. It's very basic for the beta, just sort of the bare bones stuff to make the game more playable. Yeah, I'm putting all of the weak aura strings on my Patreon page. If you want those, you can jump over to the Patreon page and just grab them. They're there for free. It's just a little bit of cross promotion for me, help out with the channel. So yeah, there you go. Without any further ado, let's dive in and let's check out the Beast Mastery Hunter. Alright guys, and hello, we are here in game. I've got my two pets here, named after the officers of my guild. So yeah, let's start this video off as we always do now, with doing a quick little dive into the core gameplay, the core rotation of the Beast Mastery Hunter, for people that aren't very familiar with the spec or want a refresher. And then after that, we'll dive into the what's new section and look at all the new abilities and fun things coming to the Beast Mastery Hunters. Look at their changed talents, their Covenant abilities, Legendaries, all that good stuff. So all that stuff coming up ahead in the video. But first, let's talk about core Hunter gameplay. Actually, one thing I should mention right at the start is the reason I have two pets is a talent called Animal Companion. This was buffed halfway through BFA, and currently on live servers is the best talent, so we'll see if it ends up being the best talent on beta. I think there's a good chance. I'm certainly running with it, because having two pets, let's be honest, is just really damn cool. So there you go. That's why we've got two. I'm going to mention, let's talk about the pets very briefly. Actually, one thing to note, I'll just mention it here, that your mastery for Beast Mastery Hunter increases the damage done by your pets. You're all about pets as a BM Hunter. You do have, yeah, that doesn't matter. You also can get exotic pets, though, as a Beast Mastery Hunter, which no other hunter can do. So these are things like Spirit Beasts and Devil Swords and stuff like that. So you can tame exotic beasts. I'm not going to go into the particular pets that you can tame here, but I'll just point out that that is a Beast Mastery specific thing. If we look at our pet spellbook here, you get a rough idea of what your pet can do. So your pet obviously can taunt, and pets are actually very good tanks in solo content. They have, bite. That's just their generic damage dealing ability, which all pets have. They've got a dash to be a gap closer. That has a 10-second buff. That's only a 20-second cooldown, so they're very good at closing the gap. In this case, every pet also has a pet family ability, and I believe exotic pets have two. In this case, for a Spirit Beast, or Wind Serpent, which is what Uter here is. This guy, he's a Wind Serpent. He has this, Winged Agility, where he gets 30% dodge for 20 seconds, so it makes him a bit better at tanking. But all the different pets have different abilities, and you can kind of choose which pets you want, not only based off their looks, but the ability. They also have pet families here. It's actually easier to show this to you in this section here, the pet specialization. You've got damage, tank, and damage, ferocity, tenacity, and cunning. A little bit misleading in a sense. So the ferocity one is going to give you you and your pet leech, and then it'll also give you access to a bloodlust effect, which is very good utility. The tank pets give you you and your pet maximum health, and it gives you a defensive. So this is actually one that you'll very commonly run. Even though it says tank, this is typically what you're going to be running in high-end like PvE and raiding and stuff to survive like big one-shots and bursts in mythic raids, And then you've got cunning, which is going to give you movement speed and also give you an ability to remove all roots and movement impairing effects from a friendly target and from the pet. So yeah, there you go. I mean, this one's great for PvP. This one's great for like solo content, like lower tier PvE content, and this is really good for like group content, higher tier PvE content, roughly speaking. But that's kind of your pets. They're super important for PM Hunter, which is why I'm spending time on it. What's our actual gameplay then? Well, one new thing that you're going to have to do in Shadowlands is Hunter's Mark. This is baseline, so you're going to have to put this on every target that you fight now. You can have one Hunter's Mark at a time. It just makes you do 5% more damage to the target. Or in other words, you're going to do 95% damage to everything unless you put a Hunter's Mark on it. That's how you look at this. So you need to have Hunter's Mark on. It has a quick GCD, but it is still on the GCD. I'll talk more about that in the What's New section. I'll just point it out now, though. So we have Focus. Focus regenerates really quickly. In fact, our pets run off Focus as well. We're going to be spending our Focus in two main ways as part of our core single target rotation. Kill command is like the big, it's like the mortal strike of the Beast Mastery Hunter. This is like your standout ability. This costs 30 focus, has a cooldown 6.6 seconds with current 13% haste, and has actually a 15-yard range. You give your pets the command to kill, causing your pet to savagely deal 1,500 physical damage to the enemy. It also makes your pet like dash to the enemy. Like if I press it right now, it gives them this big movement speed buff to zip on across and actually engage in melee combat. So using kill command on cooldown is like the most important, or one of the most important things in single target. Then we have also a focus dump, which is Cobra Shot. So this does 800 physical damage for 45 focus, and this reduces the cooldown of kill command by 1 second. So essentially it's a focus dump. You know, when I'm going to have too much focus, I can spend this to get some cooldown reduction and get to my next kill command faster, but you're not going to want to spam this too often or anything like that. You're going to want to prioritize the kill commands. I will point out very quickly here at this point as well that this has had its focus cost increased from 35 in BFA to 45 now on beta, but there is a massive problem where one of the baseline abilities they gave us, Arcane Shot, is actually way better in terms of DPS right now, which is not Blizzard's intent. And Blizzard just said, in fact, last night, with this week's beta build, that they haven't fixed this, but that they are going to fix it in the next beta build. So yeah, I imagine they'll probably reduce the focus cost of Cobra Shot back down. You will see, however, in the dungeon footage that I was running Arcane Shot. Arcane Shot actually in single target is going to be your top damaging ability right now. Like, the tuning is wonky, but that will be fixed, and you should be using Cobra Shot instead as your focus dump. So there you go. Again, kill command, reduce the cooldown with excess focus with Cobra Shot. And there you are. I'll also point out very quickly for AoE, your AoE here is your other focus spender. In fact, your only other focus spender, which is multi-shot. You fire several missiles, you hit 5 targets within 8 yards of your current target for a tiny bit of physical damage, like 130 physical damage. More importantly, it triggers Beast Cleave. So Beast Cleave is a 4-second buff that makes your pet's melee attacks also strike up to 5 other nearby enemy targets for 75% damage for the next 4 seconds. So in AoE, you can, I guess, spend some excess focus with kill command still for some priority damage, but your priority then becomes maintaining at all times your Beast Cleave buff on your pet. And again, I've got weak auras here to track them, which I think should be very helpful for you guys watching to kind of figure out what's going on there. In fact, you can see we have to hold off on doing some kill commands because we're actually running out of focus in this case. Why am I running out of focus? Well, that's because I'm not doing the rest of the rotation. So those are a couple of spinning plates. That's how I describe BM Hunter, lots of spinning plates. The other big part then of your core rotation is Barbed Shot. So this has, again, at this current haste level, an 11-second cooldown. You fire a shot that tears through your enemy target, making them bleed for about 1,300 damage over 8 seconds. This does generate 20 focus over the 8 seconds. More importantly, though, this sends your pet into a frenzy, increasing their attack speed by 30% for 8 seconds, and this stacks up to 3 times. That's 90% attack speed for your pet. So essentially maintaining this at all times is extremely important. So on top of like the other spinning plates things we're going to do, you can see I've got this green bar is going to track the stacks, and this is really important. We want to refresh this as late as possible usually. I actually fucked up right there and I didn't refresh it on time, but you typically speaking want to refresh it as late as possible. Let's just pretend we're in single target. That was a bit sketchy with our low haste right now. That was a little bit sketchy. I don't want to leave it that late next time. But refreshing this as late as possible is very important because you want to maintain as much uptime as you can on these 3 stacks of Frenzy. You can see by delaying it, I still have a charge and I get another stack. We're now dependent on a passive to actually keep us going here. And it's highly unlikely we're going to get it. Indeed, we are not. But you do have a passive called Wild Call, where your auto-shot critical strikes have a 20% chance to reset the cooldown of Barb Shot. So this is typically speaking what's going to help you keep that frenzy going. Later on in the expansion with more haste and more crit, you're going to get more resets. You're going to have a shorter recharge time. So it's going to be much easier to maintain uptime on Barb Shot on frenzy. But certainly at the start of the expansion, you're not going to maintain like a almost 100% 3-stack uptime. And there is actually a skill gameplay there to, as you saw by me fucking it up, there's a skill gameplay to actually maintaining it whilst also keeping track of your kill commands and blah, blah, blah. There you can see it's lighting up because we just got the auto shot reset. Damage cooldowns then tie into this very much, and it's one of the super fun things about Beastmaster Hunter is the Bestial Wrath cooldown. Only has a 1.5 minute cooldown. Sends you and your pet into a rage, increasing all damage you both deal by 25% for 15 seconds. The cool thing about this is that the cooldown is reduced by 12 seconds each time you use a barb shot. Okay, and then you also have another big cooldown, which is a 2-minute cooldown. That's just going to give you and your pet 5 focus per second and 10% crit strike chance for 20 seconds. Kind of nice thing about that, more crit strike chance means more resets and barb shots, so that's kind of good. But yeah, to give you an idea, we're going to go into like our opening rotation here. I will point out very quickly, just to give you like a rough idea of what your core rotation is going to be. I will point out, I've got pretty much mostly passive talents. Animal Companion, Thrill the Hunt, I'm going to get crit chance when I barb shot. Not going to stack up, so that just naturally works. Frenzy, Stomp, when I do barb shot, my pet's going to do some AoE. I've got Aspect of the Beast, my pet's going to do more damage. Lots of passive stuff. This is a new talent I'm going to point out very quickly, where Bestial Rat's going to give 2 charges of barb shot. So I think on pull, I'm not 100% sure what the ideal opener is. I think it's something like 2 barb shots to get 2 stacks of Frenzy. Bestial Rat then, which is going to refill our charges of barb shot. Then pop Aspect of the Wild. Or maybe we'll do 2 barb shots, Aspect of the Wild, Bestial Wrath. And then we'll do like a kill command and another barb shot, something like that. And then we'll go into dumping with Cobra Shot and this. So, I mean, let's try it. Like I said, I'm not sure exactly. So 2 barb shots. We're going to Bestial Wrath. I did maybe the wrong order there. That's okay. We're going to fire off another barb shot. Now we're going to start dumping our focus here. Let's go. Okay. We'll refresh that a little early. That's fine. And bam. We're just trying to get as much damage in here as we can. I probably shouldn't have done that so early. But yeah, I mean, that's roughly speaking going to be something of an opener. There we got actually a perfect reset to make up for me being lazy and refreshing my barb shot too early. And we kind of get forgiven. But look at the cooldown here on Bestial Wrath. In fact, we're about to go right back into it. I'm going to fire this off again just to get that refresh because we might as well. I'm not sure if that... It's a little bit weird with that talent because you kind of want to fire and get your Frenzy stacks rolling before you Bestial Wrath, but you waste a bit of cooldown reduction. Anyway, we'll talk about that in the talent section. But yeah, as you can see, that's your rough cooldown. We're getting really good uptime with this talent and wonderful cooldown reduction on the Bestial Wrath ability. So that's what we're all about. Yeah, it's fun. It's a fast-flowing spec. And again, for AoE, all you're going to do is you're going to start maintaining your Beast Cleave on top of that. Right, so AoE, it's exactly the same thing. You guys go attack. There we go. And Beast Cleave. Oh, unfortunately, we're going to drop our Frenzy. You hate to see it. We're going to Frenzy, pop Bestial Wrath. I'm actually going to get our Beast Cleave going again. We really want to try to make sure not to drop it if we can here. Keep that Beast Cleave going. Refresh it again. Refresh our Frenzy here. I'll do one of a kill command. Keep our thing going. And it's actually very enjoyable, in my opinion, very enjoyable playstyle, which is managing these spinning plates. And I really do hope that this weak aura stuff here is illustrating those sort of spinning plate ideas to you. Because I think that is such a core part of playing this spec, is maintaining those spinning plates, getting those Bestial Wrath windows very frequently. And yeah, that's the core rotation. That's the core gameplay of the Beastmaster Hunter. In my opinion, it's simple, but yeah, it's multiple spinning plates, tons and tons of fun. You also have lots of other abilities here as a Beastmaster Hunter as well. I'll cover some of these here. Some of these I'm going to cover in the What's New section. But just to point them out, you do have Concussive Shot, which is a single target slow, a daze for 50%, move speed for 6 seconds, and Cobra Shot extends the duration. You've got Tar Trap. You can throw down this trap on the ground, and it will put a slowing field on the ground, 50% slow while people are in the area of effect. You have another trap, which is an Incapacitate. So you throw this trap, 25-second cooldown, freezing trap. You will incapacitate something for 60 seconds. Very, very cool. Kill Shot is new. I'll come back to that later. You have an interrupt. You've got a kick on a 24-second cooldown, counter shot. You have a 1-minute cooldown stun, a 5-second stun. Your pet does this. The target dummy's immune. But yeah, just maybe a little bit. You have to control this a little bit more with a pet AI to make sure that your pet hits the right target, that sort of thing. Feign Death, very useful. You feign dead. So enemies think that you are dead. So your bar will disappear in PvP. It looks like you're dead. You'll drop aggro in PvE. Like mobs that are casting a spell at you will stop because they think you're dead. So quite useful. You have Flare, which is a ground targeted effect. Lasts for 20 seconds and reveals enemies that are in stealth or invisible. Kind of very good for PvP. Disengage is a leap backwards. I have a talent right now that's making it give me movement speed. It doesn't normally give you movement speed. But yeah, this lets you leap backwards to just kind of quickly dodge out of things. This gives you movement speed. Aspect of the cheetah is going to give you 90% move speed for 5 seconds and then 30% for another 9 seconds. Long cooldown, but this is your big movement ability. For defensives, you have Exhilaration, which heals you for 30% of your health and heals your pet for 100% max health. That has a 2-minute cooldown. You have Aspect of the Turtle, 3-minute cooldown. That's essentially an immunity. You deflect all attacks and also reduce all damage you take by 30% for 8 seconds, but you cannot attack. So you can't attack while that thing is on, but you can't be hit by any attacks either. There's some effects that will hit you through it, like in raids and stuff sometimes, but you will take 30% reduced damage from them, or like any dots and stuff you have on you, I believe will still hit you, but you'll take the reduced damage, that sort of thing. Trank Shot is new, but that's a nice utility thing. You can dispel enrage and magic effects on 10-second cooldown. You can misdirect threat to a targeted party or raid member. So like in solo content, you can misdirect your threat onto your pet. In dungeons, you can misdirect threat onto your tank. It doesn't transfer your pet's damage to the tank. It only transfers the damage that you do with your shots as the hunter, which isn't a lot, but it's better than nothing. It can help your tank pull stuff. And then you do have a bunch of pet utilities. So you can learn info about pets. You can dismiss your pet. You can feed your pet food to heal it. And it's fun. You can heal your pet with Men Pet. This one is kind of relevant. Heals your pet for half its health over 10 seconds. That's very good for solo play, of course. And then you can, of course, tame different types of pets. And yeah, a lot of the gameplay, a lot of the variety is going to come from the different pets that you tame and the abilities that they bring and the looks that they bring and blah, 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 and hunting them down. And that is the core gameplay of the Beast Mastery Hunter. Let's look at what's new. Alright guys, well what is coming that is new in Shadowlands for the Beast Mastery Hunter? Well, one of the first things, it's pets, of course it's pets, but you're going to get an increase to your stable size, and there's a whole bunch of new different pet families that you are going to be able to tame, such as Cloud Serpents. For example, you can tame Elegon from Mogashan Vaults now, and also undead beasts like undead Devilsaurs and horses and that sort of thing. I recommend checking out Petopia. Petopia will give you like loads of info on new stuff coming in Shadowlands. It's a great site for just checking out all the info on pets, so like new pet families, new families with new looks, and untamable models may or not appear and all that sort of stuff. So get all that info on the new pets over there if you want. That's what I would recommend. So there you go, pet stuff, that's cool. Abilities then in game, diving in more directly, one very, very, very cool thing that we have coming, which I think is awesome, is Kill Shot. Here for all the hunter specializations. This is a 10-second cooldown and only costs 10 focus ability. You attempt to finish off a wounded target doing 2,400 physical damage. Of course, it is an execute ability, only usable on enemies with less than 20% health. This is phenomenal. I mean, bear in mind, let's say Kill Command is going to do 1,500, so this hits even harder than that. This hits really, really hard. So this is a very fun, just extra ability to weave into your rotation quite frequently. You're going to feel really good in execute. So that's awesome. I mean, I know for in BFA, hunters ran with Killer Instincts for a while, I think like in Uldir, which gave you a bit of an execute feel, but then Animal Companion, like the super fun talent as you have 2 pets, it's just, it's more fun. That kind of replaced it and you lost that execute role, that execute niche, while Kill Shot brings it back, which is great. Another awesome thing actually is that Tranquilizing Shot has been added back in. So this is a 10-second cooldown ability that will remove 1 enrage and 1 magic effect from an enemy target. So that's the visual. And I mean, not too special by any means, the visual, but fantastic utility ability. So useful for like raging mobs in Mythic Plus. Great for some world content. Obviously, dispelling magic effects is great for Mythic Plus as well. It's great for PvP. Awesome for PvP. So wonderful to see that come in. That this was and kind of an exclusive ability for some pet families in BFA. Like you could dispel, you'd have this dispel effect with spirit beasts and I think moths and bats and things like that. But it did sort of pigeonhole you into playing with those particular pet families, which you may not have wanted to do. You may have wanted to play with different pet families. So there's still no ability to replace those abilities for the spirit beasts and stuff. I'll let you guys know. We'll do a video. I think they've said that they are going to update that maybe in the next beta build. But yeah, just bear in mind you have this baseline now, which is fantastic. Any pet that you have out, you can now dispel enrages and magic effects, which is great. A weird one we have here is Arcane Shot. Now, this is quite hilarious. Bear with me actually 1 second. Okay, so I had to get some info up there. But Arcane Shot, this is now baseline for all Hunter specs, right? This costs 30 focus. You fire a shot that does 700 and 17 arcane damage, and it varies slightly, as you can see. The weird thing about this, there is currently, in Blizzard at least acknowledged in this week's beta build, they acknowledged the problem, because there is a big problem right now, where they actually upped the focus cost of Cobra Shot to 45. So you can see the Cobra Shot for 45 focus does 800 physical damage, but reduced the cooldown of kill command by 1 second. But then you've got Arcane Shot for 30 focus, does less damage than Cobra Shot, but because it's arcane damage, it ignores armor. So the question is, well, maybe Arcane Shot's better than Cobra Shot. So what I want to do, I want to show you, we actually did a test for this on stream, and we actually tested it out, and we discovered that, again, in doing a 1-minute test using Arcane Shot versus using Cobra Shot, that Arcane Shot is actually a 10% DPS increase over using Cobra Shot with the current tuning, which is hilarious. Essentially, with the Cobra Shot, you're going to get an extra about 5,000 damage worth of kill commands out in 1 minute. However, although you do get the cooldown reduction, get those extra kill commands, the Cobra Shot with its physical damage and higher focus cost only does 12,000 damage, whereas Arcane Shot does 27,000. So you're losing 15,000 damage doing Cobra Shots instead of Arcane Shot, gaining 5. So overall, it's a loss of about 10k DPS. Obviously, you can see the test maybe not quite perfect. It's 2k out still, but roughly speaking, yeah, it's about a 10% damage increase right now to use Arcane Shot. That is not what it's supposed to be. I imagine they'll just reduce the focus cost of Cobra Shot back down, because it's yeah, that's what it was in BFA. It was 35 focus. The spec does flow a little bit slower. You got a lot more empty GCDs with Cobra Shot costing 45. I think lowering it down, maybe making it do nature damage or something. I'm not really sure what the purpose of Arcane Shot is. I don't know. I think it's supposed to be like, if your pet's dead and you can't kill command, you'd use Arcane Shot. But yeah, I think you're really supposed to just use Cobra Shot. Anyway, there you go. I just thought I'd point that out, because it's quite funny that they made that massive tuning mistake and they have to go back and fix it. We also have a couple of returning fun utility things. Eyes of the Beast. Eyes of the Beast is back due to popular demand. Take control of your pet. See through its eyes for 1 minute. So this is quite cool. You can run around as your pet. You can actually control your pet, tell your pet to do different things. I have his action bar here. I am now the Wind Serpent. So that's quite nifty. You can obviously use that to like scout stuff out in PvP and things like that. I think it's quite fun. You can think of some fun utility things. Maybe just like exploring the world as your pet, whatever. Yeah, I probably won't see all that much use, but it's a really fun and flavorful utility thing. That's just nice to be there. You also have Scare Beast has come back for 25 focus, 1.3 second cast time. Scares a beast, causing it to run in fear for 20 seconds. Damage caused can interrupt the effect, and only one beast can be feared at a time. So it's quite, it's quite niche. There's, not going to be that many beasts that you can fear. I'm not 100% sure if you can like fear feral druids and guardian druids in PvP. I presume maybe you can. You could fear other hunter pet beasts and stuff like that too. So yeah, I mean, maybe there's gonna be some niche use for this, but it's very niche. But hey, it's nice that it's there, returning once again. And then one thing that is returning, which in my opinion is not good, is Hunter's Mark. Hunter's Mark is here, baseline for all hunters. Put Hunter's Mark on the target, increasing all damage you deal to the marked target by 5%. The target can always be seen and tracked by the hunter, which is cool. Only one Hunter's Mark can be applied at a time. So I love the flavor of this, and I love the tracking aspect. What I don't like is the damage. Essentially, the way you need to look at this is not like you're getting 5% extra damage. No, no, no. What they're going to do to tune this is that you're going to do normal damage to the target you've Hunter's Mark on, and you're going to do only 95% damage to anything that you don't have Hunter's Mark on. So if you target swap quickly, if you forget to do this, to put Hunter's Mark on a target for like 5 seconds, you're doing less damage for that period of time. It does have a shorter they know it's annoying, so they gave it a shorter GCD. Like, it's not that bad. It doesn't seem that bad. It's not too bad against target dummies, and obviously in single target it doesn't matter. But I certainly think in Mythic Plus, when you want to be target swapping quite frequently, this is going to be annoying. I think imagine being in a PvP arena and you want to make a swap onto the healer, like you're trolling a DPS and go, oh, the healer, they just whatever, they wasted bop, let's switch onto the pally healer, he wasted bop, go. And it's like, it's just that feeling of having to go, oh, swap to the pally. Hang on. Okay, now I'm good to go. It's that extra delay with the Hunter's Mark. Not a big deal, but a bit annoying. Honestly, I think it would be fine. I could live with it just fine if they remove this from the GCD entirely. It's like they made it a shorter GCD. They know it's annoying, but they didn't go as far as to put it off GCD. I think if it's off GCD, it's fine. Or honestly, just make it a tracking only thing. I think that would be cool to help track people, whatever. I don't know. But yeah, just make it off GCD, please, and then it would be a lot better. Okay, we also have a few updates, a few nice things for some of our abilities. So Misdirection now has a grace period, which is cool. So it now begins with your next attack within 30 seconds, lasts for 8 seconds. So whereas before I'd misdirected and it would immediately start taking effect, now I can put this on like my tank, getting ready for a pull, and there's 30 seconds until I need to go do it. So now I can start misdirecting, and that's where the misdirect actually kicks in. It's when I actually start attacking. So that's a very positive change. So that's a really, really good change. So very happy about that one. Yeah, just a bit of leeway, yeah, it just makes misdirect flow better. Unfortunately, bad news is that Revive Pet, where is Revive Pet? Maybe he needs to be dead. He might need to be dead. Yeah, I guess he needs to be dead. Anyway, Revive Pet is now a 4-second cast time. They did up it to a 6-second cast time on beta. They decided that was too much. Now it's 4 seconds. It's definitely not as bad as 6 seconds, but it's a lot more substantial when your pet dies to bring your pet back. Maybe if I make him attack this, he'll die. Hang on. Go die. So yeah, your pet's your pet, Revive Pet, it's going to be very punishing in PvP, I think in particular. It's going to take 4 seconds to resummon a pet. So I guess the intent might be to add more counterplay to hunters. Here we go, Revive Pet, 4-second cast. This is quite substantial. I guess the idea is some counterplay to BM hunters in PvP, like, I don't know, kill their pet and force them to resummon, and it's very difficult to do so, something like that. But yeah, definitely gonna suck in PvE. Like if your pet dies in a Mythic Plus, it's gonna really suck. Okay, I already mentioned Cobra Shot has the higher focus cost. I expect them to revisit that. That seems wrong. And there are of course target caps on your abilities now. So multi-shot has a 5 target cap. Beast Cleave is also will strike up to 5 other targets. So it's like a 6 target cap, the main target, and 5 others. Wait, this one is... Yeah, that's just 5 targets. So yeah, anyway, whatever. It doesn't matter. You've got target caps. That's the most important thing. There are also a few leveling perks, so some improvements to your abilities. So you're going to unlock at level 52, 54, 56, 58 as you go through Shadowlands. 52, you're going to get Mend Pet rank 2, which is going to make Mend Pet heal for an additional 15% health. Now you're going to heal for 50% of your pet's health over 10 seconds with a 10-second cooldown. You're going to get Trank Shot at level 54. You're going to get Improved Traps rank 2 at level 56, which is 5-second cooldown reduction on Tar Trap and on Freezing Trap. So very good for Mythic Plus and very good for PvP. More Freezing Traps is awesome. And then you're going to get Kill Shot rank 2 at level 58, which is 25% more crit damage on your Kill Shot. Hunters like crit, so that's pretty good. Beastmaster hunters like crit because of Wild Call, so that's pretty nice. Looking at your talents then, there are a few little talent tweaks. Not too much in terms of talents, but a few little tweaks. So at level 15, Dire Beast no longer has a focus cost. So this summons in your Dire Beast to attack, and he's going to give you 15% haste while he is there. Sorry, not 15, 5% haste for 8 seconds while he comes in. That has a 20-second cooldown. One thing I found is that you see that little tiger there. Oh, the damage meter is broken right now, but this thing does almost no damage. Like the beast itself does like basically nothing. It's kind of weird, but it does basically nothing. So bear that in mind. This is kind of just get 5% haste for 8 seconds. It's kind of cool. Personally, I'm more of an Animal Companion player myself. I think that's just way more fun. But anyway, that's me. Scent of Blood. This is very nice. This is a new talent at level 25 to kind of combine the old Azurite trait from BFA that gave you 2 charges of, or gave you charges of Barb Shot when you did Aspect of the Wild, I think. This is now baked into Bestial Wrath with this talent. So this flows very well, actually, where activating Bestial Wrath gives you 2 charges of Barb Shot. This is pretty awesome, right? 2 free charges of Barb Shot. That's like 24 seconds of cooldown reduction on your Bestial Wrath. To bring it almost immediately from a 1.5 minute cooldown to a 1 minute cooldown, which is awesome. And it just ensures that you're going to have Frenzy flowing very naturally during your Bestial Wrath. This talent, it took me a little bit to get used to. It's kind of weird. Like, for example, I think like a new opener, let's ignore Aspect for now, but I think your new opener would be something like Barb Shot, Bestial Wrath, Kill Command, Barb Shot. Like, it's kind of odd, you know? to do a couple of barb shots without the cooldown reduction, and you essentially always want to make sure that you dump your barb shots before going into Bestial Wrath, even if it overcaps on the cooldown reduction. But still, this sounds, it actually feels very good when you do play with it. It makes the spec flow smoother because your secondary stats are low at the start of the expansion. It's hard to maintain 3 stacks of Frenzy. This makes it a lot easier and makes your Bestial Rats a lot more forgiving as well. So it's fantastic. That competes with one with the pack and Chimera Shot. Yeah, I feel like Chimera Shot's going to be kind of a dead talent for BM hunters. Probably. I would be surprised if this was good. One with the pack is okay. It's going to scale well with secondary stats. Scent of Blood, I think for the start of the expansion is probably a go-to. Then Spitting Cobra got a rework. When Bestial Wrath ends, summon a Spitting Cobra to aid you in combat for 15 seconds. Each Cobra shot used during Bestial Wrath increases the damage the Spitting Cobra does by 10%. So that's kind of nifty. I mean, let's go into it. Let's go into it here. We're going to do our two frenzies. That's Bestial Wrath. Here we go. Let's see how many Cobra shots we're going to get out. One weird thing about this right now is that the Cobra itself has a very short range. So you're not guaranteed. Like, if you're at maximum range from the target, there he is. There's our Cobra. He's going to start blasting. He's doing he's not doing much damage. He's doing like 70 damage per tick. It's not a whole lot, but it's cool to get a Cobra. I love it. Getting the Cobra in, that's nice. He has a short range though. So if you're at maximum range from the target and someone's in the Cobra, you can actually be out of range and he'll just sit there confused, which is a bummer. The bigger problem as well on the beta right now is that it's a dead talent because Arcane Shot is a 10% damage increase over using Cobra Shot. So you would never use Cobra Shot, which means you'd never take this. And also, it's just a bit punitive. Like I said, the big problem is the extra focus cost of Cobra Shot in Shadowlands. You just don't get that many Cobra Shots out during that Bestial Rat to empower him. Hopefully when they fix this, and hopefully you get more secondary stats, this could be good and fun. It does compete with Thrill of the Hunt, which I think is very good, especially with Scent of Blood, or Murder of Crows, which is extremely good at the start of the expansion indeed. So we'll see what ends up being good, but it's competing with it's a pretty good talent here. If they make this good, I think that's a fun talent here. So I hope it's good because it's cool. Then Stampede got buffed, which is awesome. It's now a 2-minute cooldown, which is fantastic. So gotta love a bit of Stampede. Call in a herd of beasts. The nice thing about this, the really nice thing about this, is that it syncs up perfectly with Aspect of the Wild. So you'll have that 10% crit chance rolling for that Stampede, which is awesome. So that syncs up a bit more naturally. It also, I think it just flows better being a 2-minute cooldown. They could even make it a 1-minute cooldown. I'd be fine with that. That'll be fine. It does compete with Stomp. So I guess that's sort of the question. Like, Barrage is a bit of an odd one out for Beastmaster Hunter as well. That's got a weird niche. I'm not exactly sure what the niche of Barrage is. Like the AoE, like cleave damage, like AoE damage, but light AoE damage on a 20-second cooldown with a hefty focus cost versus Stomp. Stomp just works really, really well for really constant physical damage from your pet, which again synergizes with Scent of Blood and all of that stuff. Or then Stampede gives you that big 2-minute cooldown. So yeah, I get the idea of the talent here. The question is just going to be, is Stomp too good? Or will the burst cooldown of Stampede be useful? It could be useful in some situations, so one to keep an eye on. And then at level 50, again, worth noting that Killer Cobra is kind of worse because of Cobra Shot's increased focus cost, but expect that to be fixed. There's a new talent called Bloodshed. Command your pet to tear into your target, making the target bleed for about 1,800 damage over 18 seconds, and increase all damage taken from your pet by 15% for 18 seconds. So Bloodshed, this is really a single target talent, and I think it could be quite fun in single target. I don't think it has much of an animation. So let's go into this. Let's do let's go in. Let's start off with I don't know, let's like kill command, get our pet in there. Let's do 2 barb shots. We're gonna do a Bloodshed, Bestial Wrath. We'll dump that in there as well. There we go. So yeah, like the Bloodshed, I didn't even see it pop off there, but I presume it did. There's the Bloodshed. I missed my frenzy thing. But yeah, he's taking more damage from my pet. It's fine. Yeah, like I said, the animation, as far as I can tell, is nothing fancy at all. It's just like another kill command. But but it's a cool effect. Could be very fun in single target. You're going to sync this up with every Bestial Wrath, probably. You're going to sync it up with every second aspect. With every second one, you'll sync it with Aspect of the Wild. Could work well with some Covenant abilities. So I think it's good. It's fun. Single target thing. Bit more active than Aspect of the Beast, which is, I think it's totally cool. So there you are. Bloodshed, new talent. Not terrible, not amazing. Single target only. Bloodshed. For your Covenant abilities then as the Hunter, we'll look at the Kyrians first. There's a lot of great Covenant abilities for the Hunter, I have to say. So this is the Kyrians. Their signature ability is the Summon Steward. You summon a Steward. Hello, friend. He's going to give you a Phial of Serenity. As of the yesterday's beta patch, the beta build, a Phial of Serenity is just an entire other health potion. It's going to give you 20% health now, remove all diseases, poisons, curses, and bleeds affecting you. It has a 3-minute cooldown. It has 3 charges, and you can use this every 3 minutes. I believe this used to be tied into once per combat encounter. I think now it's just on a 3-minute cooldown. Health stones are on their separate 3-minute cooldown, and health pots are now on a separate, again, 5-minute cooldown. So as a Kyrian, you can have a health pot, a health stone, and a Phial of Serenity all in the same fight. Even you could get a couple of health pots, a couple of phials and stuff like that, I think, per fight as well. So that's nice, a nice buff to that. So it's pretty damn good now. Your Covenant ability then for the Hunters is Resonating Arrow. 1-minute cooldown, fire a resonating arrow to the target location that fills the area with echoing anima for 10 seconds. The effect causes your attacks to ignore line of sight to enemies in the area, and you have 30% increased crit strike chance against them. So let me fire off this arrow. You can see the area of effect, very badass. That guy would attack me if I hit him, so we won't do that. If I fire that in, you can see it's just going to do this effect, and we got 30% crit chance against these targets. Super badass, guys. Super badass. It has this beautiful effect on us as well. So cool. So a couple of things about this one, which I think make it really good. I'll show you the line of sight thing next. I think this is going to be great for Beastmaster Hunter. Number one, we love Crit Strike as a Beastmaster Hunter. It's going to give us more resets on our Wild Call. It's just going to let all of our stuff do more damage. There's a very good legendary where your pet does more crit damage while Bestial Wrath is active. A 1-minute cooldown means that we can very easily have Bestial Wrath up every single time. We'll have Aspect of the Wild up for every second Resonating Arrow for even more crit strike chance. That's 10% plus the extra 30%. That's 40% bonus crit during those windows. This syncs up with the baseline cooldown of Murder of Crows if you don't get a reset. It syncs up with the baseline the cooldown of Bloodshed. So some single target nuking there. So this one I think is very cool. It also has the use of ignoring line of sight, and you can see it actually gives us like this it's like we're playing a modern FPS where you can always see through walls. Wow. So that's kind of neat, and then it disappears. So quite cool, I think. For like the obvious implication would be like pillars in arena, right? Throw this down beside a pillar in arena, and it's like, haha, you cannot hide behind the pillar, healer. I've got you. So quite cool. There is a potency conduit that you can use to make this ability even better. It's called Enfeebled Mark. Your attacks and abilities do 5% increased damage to enemies inside the resonating arrow, and this will actually scale up to 15% more damage to enemies inside the resonating arrow. So that makes this even better. Yeah, again, like you're just gonna be able to stack this damage cooldown with these damage cooldowns with this, like there's so many things you can stack with it. And again, the other wonderful thing about this is it's just giving you crit strike chance. So this is fantastic. I mean, crit strike chance and single target, fantastic. It has an area of effect, so crit strike chance and AoE, also fantastic. This for me is one of the best Covenant abilities in the whole game. It's just versatile. It's the name of the game. It's super good in every situation, everywhere. The only downside is that people could potentially like move out of the area of effect. That is literally though the only downside. Other than that, an absolutely phenomenal Covenant ability for the Beast Mastery Hunters. The Night Fae then, their signature ability is Soul Shape. This has a 1.5-minute cooldown, lasts for 12 seconds. It will last indefinitely because we're in a rest area right now, so you can be a beautiful, sparkly spirit animal if you want. You can match your pet to be spirit animal. Oh, awesome. But you turn into a Vulpin by default. It does teleport you 15 yards forward, and then it's going to give you 50% movement speed. Bam, there's the teleport. You can reactivate the ability every 4 seconds as Flicker for more blinks. Very cool. And yeah, like I said, it's going to be indefinite, because we're in a rest area right now, but yeah, you get a few blinks out of it. Big movement speed cooldown, very nice. The Covenant ability for the Hunters does not work properly right now, so expect bug fixes for this, but it is called Wild Spirits. It has a beautiful effect I'll show you in a second. Instant cast has a 2-minute cooldown. Evoke the energy of wild spirits at the target location, applying wild mark to all enemy targets within the area for 15 seconds, increasing damage you deal to them by 5%. While wild spirits are active, each damaging ability you use against a target affected by wild mark will strike the target for 500 nature damage. So cool. A couple of downsides with this, and again, I think you could expect this one to maybe see a bit of a rework. I think that's not unlikely because there's a lot of bugs right now. The idea is, okay, we put this down, we're going to do more damage to targets, and then whenever we hit them, they take more damage. A couple of things. This has a cooldown, an internal cooldown on the damage effect. So let's say, for example, we do a barrage and we're blasting like crazy. It's not going to keep triggering the wild spirits effect. There is an internal cooldown. You can only trigger it per target like every second or a second and a half or something. And it does not work with loads of different hunter abilities. So it won't work with barb shot bleeds. I believe it does not work with pets. The big thing is it doesn't work with your pet beast cleave. Which cripples this for AoE for the Beastmaster Hunter. It will proc when you do a multi-shot, but your pet Beast Cleave won't trigger this, which makes it kind of terrible. In theory, though, again, I think we could expect this to maybe be reworked. That could happen. It could, or they could just fix its functionality, in which case it could be a very strong AoE cooldown on 2 minutes. 2 minutes it syncs up with Aspect of the Wild, which is good. You'll have a Bestial Wrath up, so it still has some of those synergies. Could be great for AoE burst damage. If I show you the area of effect, look how cool, look how beautiful it is. It's so beautiful. It looks amazing. But you can see my pet with the Beast Cleave. It's not working properly. Not working properly, but yeah, when I shoot them, that it does proc the effect. I mean, I hope that they make this good because it looks amazing. I know that, shout out to Hal. Hal's our Beastmaster Hunter main in the guild. The officer. There she is. There's Hal. She's a Vulpin because she wants to be Night Fae, but she's sad because it's the worst Beastmaster Hunter Covenant right now. Very sad. The conduit for this is called Spirit Attunement. Wild Spirit duration increased by 3 seconds, and the damage dealt is increased by 10%. That goes up to 25% more damage dealt, so that would be an 18-second buff in the area. Pretty nice. It syncs up even better than with Aspect of the Wild, which would be wonderful. And yeah, more damage. So hopefully this ends up being good. Right now, it's not great. Next one we have is the Venthyr. Their signature ability is Door of Shadows, which is pretty awesome. It's a 1 minute cooldown, 1.5 second cast, 35-yard range teleport. So pick where you want to go. I want to go over here. Cast a spell and teleport right there. So kind of nice. You can skip over lava pools on the floor. You can blink over beams and like N'Zoth beams, for example, like whatever. I think there's definitely some cool uses for that. I think it's pretty nice, some nice mobility, pretty straightforward. Their Covenant ability is called Flayed Shot. This has a 30-second cooldown and 10 focus cost. Fire a shot at your enemy, making them bleed for about 2,800 shadow damage over 20 seconds. Each time it deals damage, you have a 15% chance to gain Flayer's Mark, making your next kill shot be usable on any target regardless of their current health. So, I mean, this looks beautiful effect on that. Like, it looks super cool. Oh, let's put our Hunter's Mark on. Don't forget your Hunter's Mark. And then we can just do like our core rotation. You can see this isn't going to proc too often. This will light up when it does. There it goes. It's lit up. We fire a kill shot. So, pretty fun, right? The Flayer's Mark is about to expire. Looks like we're probably... No, we got 2. There we go. So we got 2 kill shots out of that. So this is going to be... It's pretty straightforward, right? It's going to be a really good single target ability. It's going to do really good single target damage itself. It's a good... For 10 focus, 2,800 shadow damage. It's a phenomenal amount of damage just off of the ability. And then getting those free kill shots is also phenomenal. Yeah, so it just gives you that execute sort of gameplay. It mixes up your rotation quite a bit in single target. And I think that's really nice. The conduit for this is called Empowered Release. Flayed Shot has an additional 5% chance to proc Flayer's Mark, and it increases the damage of your next kill shot by 5%. That goes up to 20% more damage. So, wonderful conduit. Gonna proc more often. That's good. You might get 3 procs or whatever. That would be really nice. And then, of course, it's also going to make it useful in Execute, because the proc is not going to be just, well, I don't care, because they're below 20% health. I could hit them with this anyway. It's going to make that Execute hit harder. So I think that's pretty good. Again, the downside for this one is that it is purely single target, which is okay, but it has no AoE benefit at all. So do bear that in mind. There's no way to make this good in AoE, but it's going to be amazing for single target. Then the final Covenant are the Necrolords. My pet just... he's just going in. Hal is really angry about the Night Fae. She's just beating the crap. She's taking out her frustrations. As Bob Ross would say, she's beating the devil out of it. Beat the devil out of it with the vent here. Necrolords, though. Fleshcraft. This is your signature ability. 2-minute cooldown, 4-second channel to form a shield. That gives you 20% max health for 2 minutes. Awesome, right? You can channel near a corpse to claim the essence and make the shield 50% of your maximum health. So I think this is super good. Beastmaster Hunters are actually fairly squishy. Like, you've got some max health. If you run with a tenacity pet, okay, you got a bit more max health, and you have like survival of the fittest, but it's not a great damage cooldown. It's not a long cooldown. And then you've got acceleration to heal yourself. You've got turtle, but you don't have any, like, you got nothing in the lines of, like blur or anything like that, like these shorter, like you've got no, you're not, compared to, like, let's say a mage. Mage has so many defensives now. You don't have anything quite like that. So extra defensive is pretty good. Their Covenant ability is also very cool. It's called Death Chakram for all you edgelords out there. 45-second cooldown, instant cast. Throw a deadly chakram at your current target that will rapidly deal 550 shadow damage 7 times. So that's like about 3,500 shadow damage roughly. It will bounce to other targets if they're nearby. Each time it does damage, the damage is increased by 15% and you generate 3 focus. So in fact, it's going to do more than 3,500 damage. It's going to do quite a lot, like maybe 5,000 or something. I forgot to fix the damage meter. Anyway, let's see. Boom, 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 boom. It's going to bounce between them. Super cool, super quick. So this one is just fantastic. I love it. I actually really, really like this one. It's just simple, right? It's just simple. It just works. Whatever. Every 45 seconds, you press this button. It does a butt ton of damage. It does loads of damage. It's going to give you lots of focus as well. In single target, it does this full damage. In AoE, it's going to bounce around and spread that damage around in AoE. It's fine. It just works. It's a cooldown that just works. Let's see what the focus cooldown focus regen looks like. While we wait for that, Necrotic Barrage is the potency conduit. It's going to generate an additional 2 focus each time it hits, and the damage will be increased by 5%, going up to 20% more damage, which is awesome. So it would generate 5 focus each time it hits. Let's spend some focus here. Dump our focus. Here it goes. Death Chakram. I mean, it's a little bit of focus regen. It's not too shabby. It's not too shabby. Like, in total, default is hitting 7 times. It's going to give you 21 focus. With the conduit, that would give you 35 focus. So it's not too bad. I mean, you're not focus starved as a BM hunter, but it's still going to feel pretty good. So yeah, there we go. There are the Covenant abilities. Like I said, I think you got some really great choices as BM Hunter. Night Fae is the one that stands out right now that is not working, but let's be hopeful. Let's cross our fingers and let's hope that they fix it. If it does get fixed, I'm presuming that it stays pretty much similar design. It's going to be a 2-minute cooldown that's going to give you some great AoE damage. Maybe not as good in single target though, but give you really good burst for 2 minutes AoE. Could synergize well with Aspects of the Wild. Could synergize well with Stampede. Could be kind of cool. The Kyrian one is a standout one of just versatility. So versatile. Resonating Arrow. Throw it down. Just get way more crit strike on targets in the area. Just you can conduit it up to do more damage to targets in the area. That works just as well in single target as it works in AoE. It works fantastic for both scenarios. It's a short 1-minute cooldown. It gives you that fun line of sight effect as well. So it does everything wonderfully well. You got the Venthyr with their Flayed Shot, which is, I think, a single target monster. It's going to do tons of damage in single target. I personally wouldn't be attracted to this one, though. I would say as a Beastmaster Hunter, I think it's very fun and it's very cool, but it's just the fact that it is purely single target. I think I'd rather have the Kyrian one, which will work in single target, but also in AoE. And then you have the Necrolords, which I think is actually really good. Again, it's very simple. It's simple. It works, gives you a bit of focus. It's going to do really good damage. The damage works single target. It also works AoE. It's just a fire and forget. Every 45 seconds, you can press this button. You don't need to plan around it a bit like you do with the Kyrians or the Night Fae with its placement on the ground. You don't need to react to procs or do anything weird like that. Or all you got to do, just press that button. It's going to do loads of damage. Simple. You're going to feel good. It's a hunter's dream, right? But there you go. Covenant abilities. They're pretty good. For your legendaries on a Beast Mastery Hunter, there are 4 generic. Oh my god. For your legendaries on the Beast Mastery Hunter, there are 4 general legendaries available to all the hunter specs. And then there are 4 Beast Mastery specific legendaries. In fact, let me put my normal boots back on so that goes back there so we can actually see it. Legendary, it's a blue pair of boots. Oops. Anyway, right, so your 4 general legendaries then. The first one is called, let me just get the names. The names are not yet properly implemented in the beta. It's called Call of the Wild. The cooldown of all of your aspects is reduced by 25%. So this one is okay. I mean, obviously the appeal would be it's going to reduce aspect of the turtle, aspect of the cheetah. Then, of course, for you, it's going to reduce aspect of the wild. You know, not great in terms of damage. Like, aspect of the wild isn't that good, really. I mean, Bestial Wrath is where it's at. And, you know, reducing the cooldown of this could actually desync it from things like your Covenant abilities. So that's kind of a bummer. But certainly the appeal would probably be with... Born to be Wild, which is reducing the cooldown of aspect of the cheetah, aspect of the turtle, and this on. We'd actually go down to a 1.8 minute cooldown on aspect of the cheetah and 1.8 on aspect of the turtle. Now, that could be quite useful. Again, without that, it's going to be 2.3, 2.3. So I think that's the appeal. That has to be the appeal, I think, is that utility effect. It could be useful sometimes, but not that often. The next one is called Nessingwary's Trapping Apparatus. Whenever a trap is triggered, gain 25 focus. I'm not seeing this one. As Beastmaster Hunter, obviously, you have more focus than every other Hunter spec. Thanks to Pack Tactics, you got double focus regen. So, yeah, I don't feel like the focus is all that useful. It maybe could be okay, but I really think there's better legendaries out there. This one is called Soulforge Embers. This is one you probably heard about. This just got nerfed massively in the current beta. This was doing, when we were checking this on stream yesterday, this was doing 11,000 fire damage over 12 seconds when we did a tar trap. This is now doing 2,600 fire damage. It's still really good. So this actually, it's very cool interaction, right? When you launch a flare into your tar trap, it makes all enemies inside the tar trap burn for 2,600 damage over 12 seconds. So we throw a tar trap out. We fire a flare on this. There we go, I pressed the wrong button. The flare's in there, and these guys are burning. One downside, it doesn't actually have a visual for setting the trap on fire, but you can see the fire effect on these guys. So, that's okay. One weird thing, which can shout out to Hal, our resident Beastmaster Hunter in the guild, pointed out, which makes no logical sense to me. But if I fire another flare onto the same tar trap, it reignites them. So you can actually burn them twice with the one tar trap to save yourself some GCDs. Obviously, if you're in this situation, and they still burn once the tar trap itself dissipates. If you're in a situation where you're fighting stuff that is actually still within that small tar trap radius, like I don't know, a single target boss or something that doesn't move, you can actually burn them twice with the same flare, so that saves you an extra GCD. I love this legendary, though. Like I said, it just got nerfed, but I think it should still be a good source of AoE damage if you can guarantee that stuff will be stacked inside there. The thing I love about it is that it is... here, let me actually dismiss this pet. Stupid pet. The thing that I love about it is that it's just cool, right? It's cool. What a great idea. What a great, fantastic idea for a legendary that completely changes your rotation. It makes Tar Trap and Flare, which are normally, obviously, their utility abilities. It makes them part of your core damage rotation, and in a really fun way. It kind of reminds me of, like, Divinity Original Sin 2, right? And it makes sense, apart from setting the same Tar Trap on fire twice. That's a bit, like, did enough Tar survive to set it on fire twice? I don't quite get. Anyway. But yeah, that's awesome. Great legendary. Really, really good. Let me swap to Killer Instinct. Okay. You can come back, Uter. Hal's gone to bed. That's okay. Then the final general legendary is called Craven Stratagem. Feign Death's cooldown is reduced by 15 seconds, and it now removes most negative status effects from yourself. So that becomes the 15-second cooldown. So this one, again, it's very niche. This could be incredibly good on some specific fights, some specific raid bosses. It's possible that this could be an absolute MVP for survivability and exploiting hunters to do certain mechanics. So that is one to watch for. It could be amazing for some PvP matchups as well. Although I do think there is a PvP talent that already does something similar. Yeah, Feign Death removes all harmful magic effects, reduces damage taken by 99% for 1.5 seconds. So I don't know if you just take the PvP talents or if they'll change the PvP talents. Who knows? Like, that stuff could still be work in progress very easily. It's one to keep an eye on, though. Again, not something you're going to use all that often, but this may be one that you're going to have for that one or two odd little fight over the course of the expansion where this is an absolute MVP and secures you that raid or dungeon spot, perhaps. For the Beast Mastery specific ones, the first one is called Dire Command. Kill Command has a 10% chance to also summon a Dire Beast to attack your target. This is literally just the talent, right? The Dire Beast gives you the full benefit of the talent. In other words, it does basically 0 damage, like literally almost 0. It's bizarre. I'm not sure what the deal with that is. It's weird to me though. But it gives you 5% haste for 8 seconds. So this one I think isn't great. In reality, all it basically is Kill Command has a 10% chance to give you 5% haste for 8 seconds, which, while it has fun summoning in the Dire Beast, actually isn't that useful. I think it would feel better if the Dire Beast did more damage, so hopefully they fix that. The next one is called Flamewalker's Cobra Sting. A Cobra Shot has a 10% chance to make your next kill command consume no focus. This one could end up being like okay for single target, for sure. It could be okay. Again, I think it's relatively boring. That's a very low proc chance. Not consuming any focus isn't all that exciting on a Beastmaster Hunter. Like, you've got plenty of focus. You know, save 30 focus is just going to help you cast right now like another portion of a Cobra Shot. It's not a big deal, so it's also useless in AoE because you're not going to have enough focus to cast Cobra Shot in AoE. So I think this one's pretty disappointing. This next one is called Qapla' Eridan War Order. This one's actually really nice. Barb Shot reduces the cooldown of Kill Command by 4 seconds. So I did some playing with this one. And with my current haste levels, this sometimes worked out to be really good and sometimes didn't work out to be too good. One thing to bear in mind is that you kind of have to, with your secondary stats on the expansion launch, because you're not going to get too many resets on Barb Shot and your haste is lower, the recharge time, you do really have to prioritize using Barb Shot specifically and only for Frenzy. I think once you get a bit more secondary stats and you're getting more charges of Barb Shot, and you're going to have more free casts of Barb Shot, this is going to become really good, and you can start using Barb Shot more specifically for this to reset the cooldown of Kill Command. But this is just, you know, it's straightforward. Like, I can Kill Command, I can Barb Shot, I can Kill Command, like Barb Shot, Kill Command. I can go to Bestial Wrath now, like Barb Shot, Kill Command. It's pretty cool, right? I think this one is actually fun. It's a lot more fun in terms of your rotation. There we go. It actually worked out perfectly there where I could get the kill shot out. Let me see. I don't think I'm gonna quite, maybe. Oh, it's gonna be tight. Just about got it there. So that worked out there again. So whatever we did right there worked out perfectly in terms of the haste or whatever order buttons I pressed. That the Kill Command, we barely got it out before the Barb Shot. It flowed perfectly right there. So yeah, I'm a big fan of this one. I think it's way more interesting than these. Like, whatever, 10% chance to consume no focus is boring. Guaranteed cooldown reduction every Barb Shot and Kill Command. That's awesome. That's something you can play around. Very, very cool. And then the final one is, I think, the best one because it's just generally good. Not the most interesting, but just very good. While Bestial Wrath is active, your pet's crit damage is dealt. Your pet's crit damage is increased by 30%. So this is going to be great. Like, the more crit you get, the better this is going to get. Your pet's going to go nuts. It has great synergy with Aspect of the Wild. Has amazing synergy, by the way, the Kyrian Resonating Arrow, which gives 30% more crit chance. That's super good. But this is just a general thing. This works amazing. You know, your pet's going to crit more with Beast Cleave. That's where most of your AoE damage comes from. This works really well in AoE. This works really well in single target. It is, again, it's kind of like the legendary version of the Kyrian thing. It's just versatile. It works all the time. It works everywhere. It's going to scale up really well. So this is the one to keep an eye on. So overall, I'd say seeing as Soulforged Embers got nerfed, I think that Soulforged Embers could still be really good for Mythic Plus, for AoE. That might be your standout AoE legendary on the start of the expansion. Then I think that this one, Qapla' Eridan War Order, is going to be like your premier single target one. And then I think that this one, the Rylak Stalker's Piercing Fangs is what it's called, is going to be your MVP once you get more secondary stats. It's going to scale up really, really well and just be useful in all sorts of situations. Outside of those, though, I think that the other ones are pretty bad. Actually, I think, you know, you got quite a few boring legendaries there as the Beastmaster Hunter. So a couple of good ones, a couple of pretty bland ones. It's a mixed bag. But there you are. They're the legendaries for BM Hunt. Finally, let's take a look at the conduits you can get as a Beast Mastery Hunter. These will slot into your Soulbind tree. You should see an example in the background of a Soulbind tree and the sort of path you could take through it, and the different conduit slots that you could unlock along the way. There's Endurance conduits, which boost survivability, Finesse conduits, which boost utility, and Potency conduits, which boost your damage. Let's look at the Endurance ones first. The first one is Harmony of the Tortolan. Aspect of the turtle's cooldown is reduced by 10 seconds. Looks like this can go as high as 32 seconds of cooldown reduction, bringing it to a 2.5 minute cooldown. So I think this one's pretty nice, you know, like in PvP or whenever in certain raid fights, this could be really nice for certain mechanics, whenever it's going to line up well, and it's going to have good synergy with your talents and your legendary that can reduce the cooldown of your aspects. So this one, I think, is something you're going to use sometimes whenever you want that immunity more often. Marksman Advantage is next. This sort of makes Hunter's Mark less terrible. Hunter's Mark decreases the damage the target deals to you by 3%. That goes up to 10% reduced damage. So this is going to be incredibly good for certain raid fights or Mythic Plus bosses. It also could be super good for PvP, just 10% less damage from one of the DPS in Arena. It could be excellent if you're being focused. So yeah, I think this is actually really nice. This makes Hunter's Mark a lot more fun. Bear in mind that for lots of bosses, it's the environment that does damage. It might not necessarily be the boss themselves directly doing damage. Like you can check out logs and stuff and kind of figure out where the damage sources are. It can be a bit funky. I'm sure that the Hunter community will do up a big old spreadsheet and show you exactly what this is going to work on and what it won't. But I think when this does work, just that's essentially a flat, constant 10% damage reduction against like single target bosses, which is going to be incredibly good. So yeah, that's a great one. Rejuvenating Wind is next. Acceleration heals for an additional 10% of your max health over 8 seconds. That goes as high as 30% of your max health, which is awesome. Bearing in mind that Acceleration just heals you for 30% max health baseline. This effectively doubles the healing of Acceleration, which is good. I think that's going to feel quite satisfying. It's going to be a really nice heal. Great for solo content. Great for PvP. Great for everything. So that's a nice... that's a good standard endurance conduit. And then finally, Resilience of the Hunter. When Feign Death ends, the damage you take is reduced by 3% until cancelled. I presume that lasts maybe like, 5-6 seconds or something like that. Maybe 10 seconds. I don't know. This goes up to 10% damage reduction. This seems fairly weak. It's a very, very small amount of damage reduction. And certainly in PvE, a lot of the time, like in dungeons where you're using Feign Death, so you're going to dodge abilities entirely. So I'm not sure if it's all that useful. Could be okay for PvP. Like maybe in Arena. It could be okay, but not too excited about that. For the finesse conduits, there are 3 right now. 1 is coming soon. The first one is Cheetah's Vigor. Aspect of the Cheetah's secondary movement speed lasts an additional 3 seconds, and the cooldown is reduced by 15 seconds. This goes up to 45 seconds of cooldown reduction, which brings Aspect of the Cheetah to just above a 2-minute cooldown, like 2 minute 15 seconds, which is okay. The secondary movement speed bonus lasts for 9 seconds by default, so that's going to make it last for 12 seconds. This one is, I think, relatively underwhelming. Again, like maybe for PvP you want this, but I'm not particularly seeing it. I think it's still a long enough cooldown, and the secondary movement speed lasting for 12 seconds rather than 9 doesn't really seem very significant, so I'm not too excited about that. Reversal of Fortune is next. For Beast Mastery, successfully interrupting an enemy with countershot grants 1 focus. This goes up to giving you 19 focus. Not 20 for some reason. Presumably, eventually it will give you 20 focus just to give you a nice round number. I think this is okay. More focus when you successfully kick is decent. I think this isn't as good for us as it is. It's obviously going to be fantastic for Survival Hunter. Not that good for Beast Mastery Hunter. Like, focus is fine, but it's not that useful. So again, I probably wouldn't be rushing out to grab this. And then the final one here is Tactical Retreat. Disengage slows nearby enemy movement speed by 20% for 3 seconds. That goes up to a 50% slow for 3 seconds. This is actually kind of a useful thing that Havoc Demon Hunters have with their disengage, what's it called, Vengeful Retreat. It's actually kind of useful. I actually do use that sometimes in Mythic Plus, like especially in like necrotic weeks. Like one standout place you can definitely use it is like, the spooky skeletons in Underrot that absolutely truck your tank after Cragmaw. You can use it to like slow them down, which is kind of nice. I mean, you already have Tar Trap as a BM hunter and Concussive Shot, so I don't know if you need more slows, but I think it's pretty good. It could be nice for PvP as well. So I think this one's actually kind of cool and kind of fine. You're going to want this sometimes. It's going to feel nice sometimes. So there you go, Tactical Retreat. For the stuff that you're most interested in, though, let's look at the potency conduits. More damage. Let's go. Bloodletting is the first one. Barb Shot's recharge time is reduced by 1 second, and the damage is increased by 10%. Goes up to 25% more damage. So, I mean, the damage aspect is fine. That's, not too exciting. The recharge time is going to feel really good, though. I think this is going to be a standout conduit at the start of the expansion, where you are struggling to keep that frenzy uptime up. This gives you a lot more leeway. That makes that a lot more forgiving, a lot easier to achieve. So I think this one's going to feel fantastic at the start of the expansion for the cooldown reduction. And again, you get that full 1 second cooldown reduction just from the get-go, which is great. This is obviously copying one of your Azerite traits. So yeah, this one is nice. I think this is a great start of expansion all-star. The second one here is Echoing Call. Wild Call has a 5% increased chance to reset the cooldown of Barbed Shot. That actually goes up to 12% increased chance. So this is what you'll probably replace Bloodletting with when you get more stats. So when you start getting more crit and haste and you're getting off more of those crit auto shots, transferring those with more Wild Calls into more Barbed Shots, that's going to be fantastic. So yeah, I think once you get more crit, you could run this, and you could potentially run this with the Kapla, the legendary that reduces kill commands cooldown when you do a Barbed Shot. That could be really good. So yeah, I feel like this is probably going to replace Bloodletting when you get more stats. The third one is Ferocious Appetite. Kill command, critical hits reduce the cooldown of Aspect of the Wild by 1 second. That goes up to about 2.5 seconds of cooldown reduction. So again, this one also requires crit to scale up and be useful. I'm not really too taken with this one, though. I think this is the one that you're most likely to skip. Like, Aspect of the Wild, number 1, isn't all that good. And as a 2-minute cooldown, 2-minute cooldown's already pretty good. Like, that syncs up pretty well with most of the stuff that you wanted to sync up with. Like, that already syncs up perfectly with Stampede. It syncs up perfectly with the Night Fae Covenant. It syncs up really well with every second Resonating Arrow, with the Kyrians. So, yeah, I'm not really expecting this one. This one seems like it's just a skip it sort of one. Maybe it's a PvP thing where you want Aspect of the Wild more often. But in PvE, I think you're perfectly happy with the 2-minute cooldown on Aspect. I think that's fine, so we'll see. And then finally we have one with the Beast. Bestial Wrath increases all damage you and your pet deal by 1%. That scales up to 15%. This seems like mandatory Conduit. Like, Bestial Wrath is such a big part of your damage. You've got such good uptime on it. And your uptime is only going to increase the more stats you get and the more Barbed Shots you get. So yeah, like, I actually think that the Conduits here, they're all right for the Beast Mastery Hunter. Like, I'm kind of going, you're probably going to run your Covenant Conduit, then you're going to run one with the Beast, and then at the start of the expansion, you run Bloodletting, and then with more stats, you're going to replace Bloodletting with Echoing Call. So yeah, it's maybe a bit cookie cutter, but I think it's fine. I definitely think Bloodletting and Echoing Call are going to be quite fun. They're going to make your rotation feel better. One with the Beast is just going to do lots of damage. So there you go. That's sort of my thoughts on the Conduits for the Hunter. All right, well, there are all the different pieces of the Beast Mastery Hunter on the Shadowlands beta. Well, how is the spec playing? Is it good? How are things looking? Well, honestly, Beast Mastery Hunter, it hasn't changed all that much. And I think the idea, though, is, well, if something is good, then, you know, you don't need to fix it, do you? Beast Mastery Hunter has a reputation, I think, for being a very simple spec. And I would agree that it is certainly a simple spec, but that doesn't mean it's lacking complexity. And I actually find this is an extremely enjoyable spec to play. I think it's an absolute blast. I described it in the rotation section. It's kind of like managing it's like multiple spinning plates, keeping those spinning plates going, making sure your Beast Cleave is rolling all the time and not dropping uptime, while at the same time also managing your Frenzy. And especially fun at the start of the expansion. I think maybe not as good later in the expansion, where maintaining Frenzy kind of is just a gimme. It just happens for free because you've got so many secondary stats. At the start of the expansion, Frenzy is something that you have to think about. It's something you have to play around and be smart about and make those decisions, whilst also managing your focus, managing your cooldown reduction on kill command with Cobra Shot. I think that stuff combos together to make actually a very enjoyable spec. And it's got a few nice little perks as well coming into the Shadowlands. I think Kill Shot is a lot of fun. That's really a lot of fun. That does add even that little bit of extra spice into your rotation, which is great. Tranquilizing Shot will free you up to get more different pet types. You're not going to be locked into those purge pets for Mythic Plus as much, which I think is awesome. Actually, I think that's pretty cool. You know, you've got bigger stables. There's more pets to tame. Of course, it's a new expansion. There's going to be that sort of stuff. And I think that the Covenant abilities, obviously Night Fae is still sort of work in progress, but all of the Covenant abilities are actually quite enjoyable to play with in their own different way, and they're all actually quite good. Like, you're going to enjoy playing, I think, all of these Covenant abilities. So yeah, I would say the Legendaries and the Conduits are a little bit bland. They're not all that interesting. There's a couple of good ones, but then there's quite a few bad ones. I mean, Soulforge Embers just got massively nerfed, but it still stands out as being really cool, where you throw down your tar trap, then you throw a flare on the tar trap to set it on fire and burn everything in that tar trap for AoE fire damage. Like, that's just really cool, right? So that's kind of like your flashy new thing, I guess, to brag about as a hunter in Shadowlands. But yeah, it's not really all that different. If you love this spec in BFA or in Legion, I think you're going to love this spec now. Or if you probably loved it any time in the history of WoW, you're still going to love it. I think you already know if you like Beast Mastery Hunter. Like I said, for me, I love it. I think it's a great spec. I mained Hunter at the start of BFA, actually. I mained Hunter for most of Ultir. And then I switched to Priest because I wanted the ability to flex for my raid team between healer and damage. But yeah, it's a really good spec. I mean, and also, of course, you know, the big strength of Beastmaster Hunter, which I actually didn't mention in this video until now, is that because all of your abilities are instant cast and you're ranged, you are a completely mobile ranged character. So you can do your full damage rotation while you're on the move. This is obviously fantastic at the start of the expansion. You know, while you are learning all the new dungeons, while your raid fights are all completely new, everything is new. It's just so strong. It's so useful to be able to have that freedom to move around and keep full DPS going. It's so good. You can take on extra jobs in the raid, like you are perfect for doing them because, again, you can run around and not lose damage. It's just fantastic, and it just makes for a very fun spec that's satisfying to play. It feels powerful. It's simple, but it's rewarding, it's satisfying. For me, Beastmaster Hunter is and likely always will be an absolute top tier pick for a spec that it just works and is fun. And I think can be enjoyed by players, like beginner players, can be enjoyed by advanced players. I think it's a great one. So yeah, for me, BM Hunter, not all that different really, but has a few nice new tricks. Still remains though just a really solid, enjoyable class. So there you go, BM Hunter. Thumbs up. Thank you for watching, everyone. I will see you next time. Bye-bye.